Hey everyone, it's Sophie De Goede and this is the final whistle.
Welcome back to Rugby Connection presents The Final Whistle. Now, this week's guest is another first for the show. We've got Captain Canada. She's part of a lineage in Canadian rugby, and she's also really good at basketball as well. Sophie De Goede. Sophie, thank you so much for coming on. How are you getting on?
Thanks very much for having me. I'm good. We're in our last week here before we assemble for World Cup prep and leave. So just trying to get the final pieces in place and enjoy the last few days with the family.
Oh, yeah, family is the most important. Just before we started recording, you had a nice little story about the meaning behind the training jerseys, and I thought you might like to share that with the world.
Yeah, for sure. So we just got new training jerseys this year with Rugby Canada across all our programs, and they're Northern Lights themed, which is like something really authentic to Canada and being up north in the cold. So they're kind of neat, like navy and gray base color jerseys, but they have all sorts of different colors woven through them without being super in your face. So it's a nice mix of like easy to wear colors, but also a bit more bright and fun. And we normally have red or black, which is not bad colors. I mean, they're not like neon green or something. I definitely can't complain, but it's nice to have a change up and have something that's also Canadian heritage, which is pretty neat.
Yeah, I've always said if you can pay a tribute to like where the team's from or
Mhm.
like from a historical team, you get extra points in my book. And
Yeah.
Rugby Canada, if you're listening, send me one, please.
Yeah. Tag.
um, Normally we ask our guests what actually got you into rugby, but we can't ask you that because, like I said in the introduction, you're from like a rugby famous family. Your mum and dad both captained Canada, and your brother is also captained by Canada. So I'm not going to ask what got you into rugby. I'm going to ask when did you know you wanted to play rugby?
Good question. I feel like, yeah, so my parents both played rugby. Dad for Canada for 13 years, mom on the national team for 10 years. And yeah, like you said, my brother, one of them played for Canada. The other one doesn't get mentioned as much because he didn't play for Canada. He's like the one out of the family, but he had some nasty knee injuries, but he played club as well. My whole family, like uncles and cousins all play in the local club here in Victoria, BC, Canada. So it is definitely in the blood. And I think my parents both coached that club when I was growing up. So I would go out to practices with them, and I wasn't getting a babysitter at home. I would just go hang out at practices and watch people run around. So from as long as I can remember, we would be down at the club. I'd have like a rugby ball in hand, even if I was just little running around. And Saturdays was always a rugby day. We'd always be there for the club games on the weekend. And once I got into school, like get home from school, we'd have all the test matches taped, which is not something I think we bought a subscription to a special cable or a special provider because they don't have it on regular cable TV in Canada. They do now. They got it on TSN now, some games, which is great, but growing up they didn't have it. So I'd say I started playing organized in grade 3 because so 8 years old, because my parents were coaching the team, but I've been involved and knowing that I wanted to get into it ever since I can remember. And then I knew I wanted to play serious rugby once I was grade 8, I think. I made like a provincial team. So I'm from British Columbia, which is the westernmost province in Canada. And I made the BC provincial team to go down to a tournament in Las Vegas when I was 13 years old. And from then on, I just kind of got the bug for it. And I remember our coach saying, like, you should walk around with a ball in your hands everywhere you go. And most people on the team, it was a U18 team. So most of them were like 17, 18, and they were like too cool for that, in high school to walk around with a ball everywhere you go. But I was still in middle school, so I was really into it. I had a ball everywhere I went and started doing like push-ups in the morning and before bed, and just kind of got more into the idea of high performance then. So that's kind of the path along the progression to where I am now.
Yes. What path, and to play under 18 rugby at 13? That's
Yeah,
wild.
it
That
was
is
it was
crazy.
it was sevens, so it was a little bit
All right, okay.
easier on the
I like
body.
that.
Yeah.
I was going to say, because that's definitely not allowed over. You can't.
Yeah.
You have to. No matter how good you are, you have to kind of still stay in the age grades.
Yeah, fair enough.
Anja, one of our co-hosts, has asked, apart from your parents, who was your biggest rugby inspiration?
Yeah, it's a great question because normally I end up defaulting to my parents. So so because I grew up playing scrum half and fly half actually, which is weird because I'm 6 foot, so it was a long way down to get the ball at the scrum half. But I just had watched the game and knew the game better than most other kids growing up in Canada. So it was made more sense to go in like play color game management positions. So growing up, my rugby idol on the men's side was Dan Carter. Loved watching him play. Yeah, big fan, big fan. Always wanted to kick like Carter and would watch videos of him. And then within Canada, Kelly Russell, who was kind of the generation prior to me. She won a bronze medal with Canada at the 2016 Olympics, captained the team to a silver medal at the 2014 World Cup, played 8-man and kind of similar build to me. And she was also our national senior women's sevens team is based out of Victoria. So she was in and around my hometown and at some events that I would go watch. So she was definitely a role model growing up, and I'll like there's other role models too that I get to play with now on the national team, like Laura Russell, that's her sister, Liv the Merchant, girls that have been around a long time and are experienced, but Kelly's one that I never got to play with, so I'll put her in that like true role model.
That's fair. That's fair. I like that, and I love the fact you named Dan Carter as well. Because let's be honest, who didn't look up to Dan Carter?
Oh yeah, for sure.
I mean, he's that much of an inspiration. My son's called Carter because of Dan Carter. So there you
No
go.
way, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
My friends asked, like, when he was born, my friends asked, like, did you actually name him after Dan Carter? Yes. If I got away with it, his middle name would be Daniel, but we weren't allowed that. So.
Well, you better be a fly half then, eh?
I know, that's what I said. He's got a jersey. He's only got one jersey with his name on it, and it's a New Zealand top, so it says Carter 10.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, "Oh, what position should he play?" I was like, "His name's Carter. He has to be a 10. He can't play anywhere."
Jersey, yeah.
It's on the jersey. He can't play anywhere else.
That's awesome.
You mentioned some like brilliant players that you played with or currently play with. Who's your dream back row partners, past and present? So you can pick a blind side and an open side from the past, and a blind side and an open side from the present day as well. You don't have to have played with them, just people you really like.
Yeah.
As well.
Okay. I'll go. I'll try to do like a men's and a women's, because there's too many, so that's a way I can cheat.
That's fair.
I'd like to play with Khaleesi and McCaw.
Oh, nice.
I think that'd be a pretty sweet
solid. I like that
combo. Yeah. And I think the breakdowns would be super messy for the other team, which would be awesome. And then
nightmare for any opposition.
yeah. And then I think it'd be pretty neat to play with Maggie Alfonsi, given what she did for women's rugby and off the field, but more so obviously we're talking on field and the player that she was. And then well, I'll put Kelly on there too, but maybe I don't know, she normally plays 8, but maybe she'd be happy to play blindside, or I could slot in a blindside for because it'd be neat to play with a role model.
Solid choices. I love all of that. And you're right, the breakdowns on anyone you pick there would be an absolute nightmare.
Yeah, I know.
Got another question from a co-host. It's from Jemma. What was the favourite piece of advice you ever received? And I'll follow up with, have you got any advice for youngsters?
My dad always told me that your body can do more than your brain thinks it can, or your body is capable of more than you think it can do. And even like beyond a physical conditioning standpoint, or just pushing yourself in the gym, which that always helped my framing to do, my like mindset around. I think it also helped me think about what you could how much you could get done within a day. And when I was at university, playing basketball and rugby and doing my commerce degree, trying to fit everything into a day, and now like being more serious about professional rugby, but also wanting to have a career, like how much can you fit into a day? And I think your body and your mind and like mental, your capacity basically is always more than what you originally think it could be. So that I thought was always good advice, to reframe how much you can push yourself. Obviously, like there's a healthy way to do it, but and then the thing that I would pass on to people, that I don't know where I picked it up. I must have like read it somewhere or something, but is that your goals dictate your actions. So you have a long-term goal to win a World Cup. What are the small and medium-term goals along the way to achieve that? And then how does every single thing that you do on a daily basis help you achieve that goal? So I try to structure my days and my weeks and my months and my years around achieving those goals. And so I always try to have that reference, so that whenever I'm making decisions, I can use that. So your goals dictate your actions.
That's crazy. That's insane how driven you are, and I love it. It's
Yeah.
great. I was just about to ask, how do you balance rugby and basketball? But you've just said it, like your body and mind is more capable than anyone lets on. So
yeah, it's a lot of planning too. Like
I'll bet.
yeah, yeah. So when I was going through the recruiting process, which is a pretty lengthy process here in North America, originally I was looking at going to the States for basketball, and then one of the schools in Canada, as a pitch to me, said, we'll let you play rugby and basketball here. And at that time, I wasn't like sure which sport I wanted to play. And I thought you could only play one at university. And so I was getting ready to have to make a choice. And then they said, kind of as a selling feature, like, we'll let you play both. And so then when I spoke to other Canadian schools, it was always about, can I play both sports at your school? And if not, then I'm not really interested. It was not really possible to do down in the States because their basketball, they're a lot more strict around like not playing other sports so you don't get injured. But in Canada, I was able to make any school that contacted me, I was able to kind of make a pitch to them about why it was important for me to play both. And schools that were willing and their coaches were willing to work together, that was a really big decision factor for me. It was how the coaches would work together, because I knew how much planning was going to go into being able to do both. I ended up choosing Queen's for that reason, because both programs weren't national championship contenders yet, but I knew they could get there and I could make a difference. And because of their commerce program. And so then once we got there, I'd already kind of vetted that they'd be willing to work together. So that helped the planning a lot, around practice times and stuff. So I would plan out all my days so that I would do lifts or individual skills mostly in the morning, like early before classes, and then I would have classes kind of mid-morning, midday, and then I would have basketball practice usually from 3:30 to 5:30. I'd leave 10 minutes early, run down to the rugby pitch and have rugby from 5:30 to 7:30, get home, eat dinner, and fit some studying in and then go to bed and do it again the next day. So it was a lot of, to fit it all in was like the mindset that I talked about prior. Is like enjoying it. I didn't choose to do anything that I wasn't enjoying. And so like some days are tougher than others, but that helps you get through those days because it's all worth it. And C is just having good people, being surrounded by good people made it a lot easier. And then the last thing is the planning and the forethought so that nothing's, hopefully, I mean, there's always something that comes up, but hopefully nothing's catching you too off guard. That's a really long-winded way of answering your question.
That's fine. That's perfect. And again, it just hammers home how driven and determined you are.
Yeah.
But I mean, just take a day off.
I know. Well, now I finished my degree at the end of last semester, and so this summer has been all rugby, which means when we're not in camp, I'm getting bored, but that's okay. We'll figure it out. I'll get something going next year.
So do you still currently play basketball as well, though? Yeah.
So I had it in my head. Once I decided I want to do rugby long term, I decided I was going to do basketball for at a university, like college level, which is a pretty high level in Canada. It's kind of like the highest we can go in Canada for women until I finished my university degree. And then to go any further with basketball, I'd have to go overseas and play professionally. And I decided that I wanted to do that with rugby instead of basketball because it's tough to do both at that point. In two different cities in two different countries. So yeah, I finished my degree, like I said, last semester. So in April. So I'm just finished up my university basketball career. So, I mean, I'm still down to play pickup or shoot hoops whenever, like if anyone wants to go out, I'm happy to do it. But yeah, get through World Cup and then you'll probably see me on the basketball court, but done for the organized fun for now. Okay.
Fair enough. I ask all our guests this because I do want it to be a reality, not just a pipeline dream. Are you a full-time professional rugby player?
No. Yeah, I know. Sorry.
No, just pay them. Christ.
Yeah, we get like Rugby Canada, I think, supports us as well as they can right now. They don't have the capabilities that other unions do. We're trying to get there, but it's just tougher here in terms of like financial resources. So yeah, we don't have professional contracts yet / probably for the near term at least. So the way to become professional for Canadian female 15s players is to go overseas. So I was at Series during the COVID year when we didn't have any university sport and I could do my school online. And then I came back last year because I wanted to finish my degree and finish my last year of university sport. So I will probably look at going back overseas at some point to be able to be more professional with it. But I also want to balance like career aspirations as well. So yeah, it's a blessing and a curse not being professional. It's more so a curse, to be honest. But we try to spin it in terms of like there's no real entitlement within our team. Everyone has to be fully committed if they want in, because there's no financial benefit really. People are leaving their own jobs, which is how they pay to be able to play. Not that it's pay to play anymore, it's not, but you still need a job. So people are leaving their careers to come on tour with us and come to camp and do any type of like soft centralizations that we do or World Cups. So they that they're fully committed, and the other thing is it gives them opportunities to prepare for life after rugby. Obviously, in an ideal world, there's a way to be professional and balance preparing for life after rugby on the side, which is how most other nations are doing it now. But that's a long-term goal for us, I guess.
never say never. It will happen. I guarantee it will happen. Is there any sides abroad that interest you?
Yeah.
Don't say Saracens though.
Sorry.
Don't say Saracens.
No, I did enjoy my time with series. I like that their competitive mindset at the club really jives with mine. So I would certainly consider going back to series. So Canada's bilingual. We have a French province called Quebec, which we actually have a lot of women on our team that are from Quebec. So we learned French in high school, and I did all throughout school, and I did French immersion. So half of my schooling was in French. So I used to be, at least coming out of school. I haven't used it as much in a while, so I'm not as fluent, but I'm sure if I spend some time in France, I get back there. So that's not like super near on the horizon, but I love the like idea of living in France maybe at some point. But the English league right now is a higher quality league. So yeah, I don't know. There's I definitely can see myself going back over there at some point. So there'll be lots to consider when that time comes around.
Yeah, no, that's fair. And I did like the fact that you mentioned France as well, because the French league is highly. There's some friends of the show that now turn it up in France as well. So
Yeah,
who knows? Who knows where you'll end up?
plus you get to like eat pretty good food, and sounds
Of
like a
course.
nice lifestyle.
Food's always a selling point.
Yeah.
We've got a question from Harvey. He's one of the other co-hosts. We've got like 2 or 3 shows nowadays, so we've got a few.
Sweet.
We've got a few hosts.
Yeah.
He's asked, what are Canada capable of in this year's Rugby World Cup?
Winning it for sure. Like
Love it.
we, yeah.
I love that.
That's the goal. And I think it's certainly within our capabilities, and I don't think it's everywhere else might think it's outlandish, but within ourselves we don't. We hear when other pundits or countries talk about their biggest competition, and we're never mentioned, and I think it's an oversight on other nations' behalves. We have been ranked 3rd in the world, and then we just didn't get many games at all during COVID. So we've dropped to 4th, and obviously it didn't help us not beating New Zealand at Pac 4 this summer, and losing to England last November. But we've come a long way since then, because we weren't able to train together at all during COVID and stuff being so spread out. And now over the summer, we've like fundraised within our team to have what we call a soft centralization. So it was within Rugby Canada's budget for us to have X amount of camps and days together, but I think it was going to amount to something like 16 days together, whereas countries like France and England would have had closer to 40 days together over the summer. So we fundraised to pay to get together for more time during the summer, so that we could, we call it a soft centralization, so that we could stay together, and people that had work could work remotely, and we would train during the mornings and evenings to allow them to work during the day. And I think it made a big difference for us. And we're looking at playing, like how we can play multiple styles of rugby, and just we have the athletes to do it. So for us, it's like time together, which we've tried to solve over the past few months, and just rugby experience and rugby knowledge. So we've been focused a lot on our analysis and watching everything back. And we have a great analyst with the team now, which we used to have, but we used to, again, only have them on tours. And now we have someone that was with us throughout all of soft centralization. So it's made a big difference being able to watch everything back, and having more of a daily training environment. So I think, like, I'm kind of spouting off, I think we've come a long way in the last few months, and it's still like on the brink. There's still more, like something can still click for us, and I think that'll happen at World Cup, and we'll get rolling, and we certainly have the athletes and the commitment to to win it, and everyone wants to be there. And we all get along really well, which makes a big difference over a 9-week tour. So yeah, long story short, we're going to win it.
That's good. I love that. And like you said, that a lot of people don't mention Canada, like who's the toughest rivals or toughest opponents. I think every bit of rugby, so men's 15s, women's 15s, men's sevens, women's sevens, and then like age grade for men and women, they're all different sports.
Yeah.
So you can't give the men, the 15s for Canada, the same like stick as the women's 15s, because yous could be doing really well, men could be doing really bad, vice versa.
Yeah.
You know, it's all different sports. They're not, yes, it might be the same country, but they're totally different teams.
Yeah, and they're different like player pools and everything. So yeah, our men's team is struggling a bit right now, and I know the Rugby Canada and grassroots rugby and stuff is doing a lot of work to help this current generation, but also build the next few generations to help the team kind of recover from where they're at right now. Our women's side for sevens obviously did really well in medal at Rio, and then didn't quite follow that up at Tokyo, but I think they're building again. And yeah, our women's sevens team is growing, and our women's 15 team, like I said, I think will make a big splash and surprise some people at World Cup. So yeah, we're all kind of in different places.
I think for the way I'm seeing it, obviously I would love Scotland to do well, and this is our first World Cup in 12 years for the girls, but England, New Zealand, and yourselves are the top dogs to watch out for. And then you've got Australia and France probably underneath that, I would say.
Yeah, I think I'm glad you said that. But I think England and New Zealand so far, especially it being a home World Cup for New Zealand, are certainly the favorites, and especially them being the last two finalists at the last World Cup and all that. And then France always gets is a strong team as well, like very unstructured, tough to defend, and they get to play England a lot, so they get to test themselves against the top ranked team a lot. So, and then similar with Australia, and then I think the US, like there's kind of those top six, but it'll be interesting. I mean, there's two of each of those in every pool, so it'll be fun to see where we all come out seeded after that pool play.
Oh, absolutely. I was just going to quickly run by that. The year pool, you've got Canada, USA, Japan, and Italy. Now, that's a very tasty pool from a neutral point of view.
Yeah. I've chatted with a few people about it. Like, I don't think we don't really have, like, we have us in the US, but no like clear cut powerhouses beyond us two, because we're pretty familiar with each other, but we don't have like like an England or New Zealand or France or anything like that in our pool. But we don't have any like rollover teams either necessarily. Like I think Japan is a very well coached team. Their athletes obviously are very coachable. You can see that they're trying to play in structure. The quality of their skills has improved a lot. So I think they're actually quite sharp. So I don't think, if we make mistakes, they'll certainly capitalize on them. And Italy, is very unpredictable, and they like to play kind of fast, loose rugby. And we played them this summer, and we did some silly things, and they scored points off the back of them. So we definitely have to be on our game. And then like I said, we're familiar with the US, and we know that they're a strong team as well. So we definitely have to be on our game for all three games. But I think but then they're also all very winnable games. So we'll see.
You're well, indeed. We have got a fan question for you. Ailey Brown has asked, what's the best moment of your career so far?
Well, hoping it's still to come. But I'd say probably playing on home soil. So we haven't, our national team before this summer hadn't played any games in Canada in 7 years. So this July we got to play a game in Langford, which is like basically right like a part of my hometown, Victoria. And
Yeah.
then we got to play a game in Halifax in August, which is the exact opposite coast. So it's funny, like we played Wales in Halifax, and Wales probably got home, like their travel day was shorter than mine to get home to the other side of Canada. But
But that's insane.
yeah, it's crazy. But anyways, long story short, I think it was playing at home and specifically having our first test in Canada in 7 years be in my hometown, and having all my family and friends there, and people that knew me and watched me growing up in Victoria, and then getting to play in for the national team in that setting was pretty special. And then getting a win, of course, always cements the memory. Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. I love that. Why didn't you not play a game at home for 7 years? Why is that?
I don't really know, to be honest with you. I wasn't in the program then, so I'm not sure what's going on behind the scenes. And then also COVID, you loop COVID into that as well, kind of eliminates sort of 2 years. But yeah, I don't know what was happening for the 5 years prior to that.
Interesting. I'll need a higher up to come in.
Yeah, we don't also get we don't get as many competitions. Like we got the Pac-4 now, which is making a big difference for us going forward, and then the WXV tournament and all that. But historically, we mostly just play against the US on a consistent basis. So and if we're playing England, it's normally us going over to England. So we don't get a lot of home games because we have less games to choose from to have at home.
I just think you should always just have, especially like, I'll just use the men as reference because I do like the way the calendar works. You should have a normal tournament. So like you said, the Pac-4, that could be your regular annual tournament. You then have 1 or 2, maybe 3 summer tests, and then a couple in the autumn.
Yeah,
that would work.
I think that's the way we're gonna be moving from here on out. And like I said, it's really helpful to have that Pac-4 in place now, and the summer stuff with the WXV. So I think we'll go in that way. But yeah, for the past, it just so happened that we hadn't had a home test in 7 years. So
that's wild. All worth it though. Definitely all worth it. But
totally.
We're going to go into a different part of the show now, and it's getting to know Sophie as a person.
Okay.
So, what is your favourite post-match drink?
Post-match drink. Okay. Like I normally have like a protein shake, which is so lame after, but then like a cider, something like that, something pretty just chill, your regular.
Any specific cider at all, or just whatever?
No, like whatever's around. I'm not super picky.
That's fair. What is your favorite film?
Favorite film? I like Ferris Bueller's Day Off is a good one.
Yes.
Yeah.
What a film! What a classic.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's probably like, I like going back to the older ones rather than like, I don't have any new ones that came out that I'm super pumped about or anything like that. Yeah.
You can't beat a classic.
Top Gun was pretty good, but I haven't watched it yet.
I've heard it's good. I've been told by a few guests now to watch the new Top Gun. I've seen the original one, but I've not seen Maverick yet.
Yeah, I think that's next on my list if I'm going to go out and see a movie, because I've heard really good reviews about it.
Yeah, I'm the same. One day.
Yeah, I know we got fun time.
Films don't disappear. You will get around to it.
Yeah, totally.
What is your favorite song or style of music?
I'm really all over the map with this. Like, I'll listen to like 70s and 80s like soft rock.
Okay.
Like you know, Billy Joel, Fleetwood Mac, that type of thing, or like I can listen to some like more newer stuff like Throat Shout Out Canadian, like Drake, things like that. Plus then who doesn't love like good 2000s throwbacks from when you're a kid? So I don't know. I'm like I said, I'm all over the map. Before every game, this is super random. Before every game though, I try to listen to a song called Best of My Love by The Emotions, which is like very 70s, but it just makes me, it like puts me in a really good mood on game day. So I mean, I'm not like, if I don't do it, it's not the end of the world, but I normally listen to that like waking up game day morning. But yeah, like I said, all over the map.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same as you. I'm very all over the map with music. I am more rock, indie,
Cool.
like centered, but I will
Adventure.
dabble out there. I mean, one of my favorite bands is Canada's own Nickelback. I love Nickelback.
Oh, really? Wow,
Yeah.
I love that you admitted that. Most people don't admit that, but Nickelback, I don't really get it either.
No.
I think it's like a joke now because everyone actually likes them, but they pretend that they don't. But
yeah,
Nickelback has so many good songs that you just like forget about until they come on, and then you realize that you know every single word.
Yeah, 100%. Can't agree with you more. What is your dream holiday or vacation?
Growing up, I actually always wanted to go to Fiji, and we're stopping there on our way to World Cup. So I know, pretty stoked to take that one off the bucket list. Yeah, so I'll leave that with now. I think it's cool that it's a rugby mad country, plus it looks like it's really beautiful and lots of culture, so I'm excited to check it out.
Yeah, it is on my bucket list, but the flights to get to Fiji are ridiculous.
It's a while. Well, I'm from the West Coast, like I said, the West Coast Canada, so it's slightly closer than I think you would be from England, I'm pretty sure, or Scotland, but
Scotland, don't saying that's like you saying you're
sorry, my bad.
No, I think I looked at it one year just for fun. I do this quite a lot. Just look at a random location in the world and see how much it is just to get there.
Yeah.
It's £3,000 per person to fly to Fiji.
Holy.
You can swear if you want. You can swear if you want. Go for
it. Well, not to mention too, like that £3,000 is, you're basically like losing at least a day on either end of your travel. So say you have like a week off or whatever. Plus there's so much for you to do that's nearby when you're in the UK. Like you could go to anywhere in Europe for like relatively inexpensive and a short plane ride.
Plane rides have gone expensive. I don't know what, especially direct flights.
Yeah.
So me and my friends were in Cardiff in Wales over the weekend, and we just drove down just because it was more convenient.
Yeah.
But we looked at flights. To fly from Edinburgh to Cardiff was about £400 each.
Really?
For a 45-minute flight. You're not in the air very long. We're a very small island. Wild. But if you go from Edinburgh to Amsterdam to Dublin to Cardiff, it's about £20. I'm like, makes no sense.
That's insane. Yeah, it's pretty crazy, like flights in Canada right now too. We've got like lots of cancellations and delays and lost bags, and it's getting expensive too. So yeah, I don't know what's going on with travel.
I'd love to go to Canada as well, but again, it's not happening anytime soon.
Yeah, it's pricey.
Do you have any tattoos?
I don't. I always say like I'm not against the idea. My mother probably is, but I'm not against the idea, but I'm also not like super, like I'm not in my head like, oh my god, I'm gonna get a tattoo one day. I really want one. I want XYZ. So yeah, I'm very much neutral on it, but I don't have any yet.
I was just gonna ask, would you get a tattoo, and if so, what would it be?
Yeah, so like I said, pretty neutral on it. Maybe like something to do with Canada, like something along the lines of a maple leaf, but hopefully slightly more exciting than that.
A maple leaf with a rugby ball. I've done that.
Yeah.
I'm
Just
not an
stand
artist.
right on my forehead.
Everything, like a maple leaf with a rugby ball, a basketball,
Yeah.
little
Yeah,
like
maybe
Fijian
we'll see.
island underneath it. Just everything that ticks your boxes.
Yeah, everything that all my favorite, maybe a favorite food somewhere along there. I don't know. Just make it
Um,
so pretty
I
stand.
have got a few food questions for you actually.
Okay.
Poutine or beaver tails?
Poutine. I'm more of like a salty person than a sweet person. So yeah, I'll go with poutine.
Now, is it poutine or is it poutine? Because I've said it both ways and I've heard it both ways.
Technically, so it's a French word, so it's technically like poutine. So it's like, yeah, you had it. But then I grew up in like the English part of Canada where we say
Yeah,
poutine. So yeah, and
I've
technically you had it right.
I've ordered it as poutine, but I
Yeah.
always got told it's poutine. I was like, chips, cheese, and gravy. Yeah, that's
Yeah, you know what I want.
yeah. You know what the order is. What is your favorite style of food?
I really like Greek food, like just as a category.
Okay.
It's pretty you don't often miss on Greek food. And then a big sushi fan too, but it's easier to miss on sushi. Like you got to get good quality stuff. But you're not a seafood guy. We have really good seafood on the
I'm
coast.
not anything that comes out of the water. I'm not interested in. I
Really?
don't
Oh,
like.
okay. I am a seafood fan growing up on the ocean, so
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair enough. I should be because like Scottish salmon and all that, but
yeah, no.
no. I don't know what it is. I don't know if I had a bad experience growing up, or it's the texture, or it's just in my head. I don't know
Sounds
what
like
it is.
sounds like a you problem, yeah.
That's definitely a me problem. Yeah. Favorite dessert? I know you said you're not a sweet tooth person, but these are always interesting.
Yeah, if I am going sweet, I definitely my guilty pleasure would be ice cream. So anything to do with ice cream.
Okay.
Yeah.
What
And then
flavor?
vanilla based, but you
Hmm.
can throw other stuff in there like cookies and cream or whatever, but I'm a vanilla based gal.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Favorite pizza topping?
Uh I like I don't know. I'm not a vegetarian, but I like veggie pizza just because you get so much on it. Like, but then
Okay.
I probably add some pepperoni or something to it just to give it a bit of
Flavor.
oomph.
Flavor.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
um, does pineapple belong on pizza?
No, and like I'm not a pineapple fan at all, and I hate that ham and pineapple is called like a Canadian pizza in a lot of places. I don't know if you guys call it that over there, but when
No,
we go
we call it a Hawaiian pizza for some reason.
wine. Yeah. So there's like a version of it. Like
Okay.
we do call it Hawaiian pizza, but there's a version of it that incorporates like ketchup into the sauce or something that they call a Canadian pizza with pineapple on it. And I just think that's wrong. Uh, but yeah, no, I'm not a pineapple on pizza fan. I know lots of people that are, but I don't know, it's questionable to me.
You're ticking all the right boxes because and for the last few interviews we've done, it's a solid yes. For
Oh,
some.
sorry you had to go through that.
It's all good. Strength and conditioning or gym work or cardio. Sorry.
Mhm. Uh, I'm gonna go cardio.
Hmm.
I like enjoy going for a run or a bike ride. But then if it's like actual conditioning stuff, I'd rather probably be in the gym because you basically have to like beat yourself up in conditioning sometimes. So, but going for a run and like getting yourself out in the fresh air and enjoying that. I like that way as a way to unwind. But yeah, depends what type, I guess. But
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. I would go for a cycle over a run just because I'm not. I don't like running. I played rugby, and want to go back, but I don't like running. Like actually running, I don't like it.
yeah, I don't think you're alone in that. I think a lot of people feel that way, but you can get similar benefits from going for a cycle or whatever.
Cardio's cardio to me. Like, it doesn't matter how you're doing it.
Yeah, that's fair. I just grew up like my mom used to take me out on runs all the time, and I would like ride my bike alongside her when I was younger, and then when I could keep up, I would run alongside her. So I grew up doing it for like enjoyment.
That's right.
Obviously there's like a different level when you're doing it for actual conditioning. And that's when like the strength type work becomes more exciting.
Yeah, of course, definitely. Would you rather get a winning penalty, or would you get a 3-point buzzer beater?
A winning penalty, I'm gonna say. The cool thing though about basketball, if you get like a 3-point buzzer beater, is like the crowd can like storm the court, which is pretty fun.
Yeah.
Whereas rugby, it's tougher to get down if you're in like more of a stands situation. But because I'm more focused on rugby now, I'll go with the penalty winner.
Yeah, that's that. One thing you don't get to do, but you would like to do it more often.
Actually, I'm gonna say like I don't historically like haven't given enough time to just like going out for coffee with a friend, or spending time like outside of the team environment, and like even if it's with a teammate, but like going grabbing lunch or something and just chatting about not rugby. So I think I haven't gotten to do that very often because I've been so busy. It's hard to make time for that. But something I'd like to focus more on and make more time for is definitely just being with friends in a non like team environment all the time.
That's fair. I like that. That's a nice, simple answer.
Yeah.
Final question. One thing you want to be remembered for?
Okay, this is hard. Two things came to mind.
You can do two if you want.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the one like would be being a good teammate and like a good person to be around, and someone that you want to have on your team, not for rugby necessarily, but for team culture and like cohesiveness, and just like someone that you want to keep in your life as a friend beyond sport. And then the other thing would be being on the first Canadian team to win a Rugby World Cup.
I love that. That's classic.
Yeah.
And yeah, there you go. Book is now shut. You've
nice.
absolutely smashed. Thank you so much for coming on, and all the best for the World Cup. We'll definitely keep in touch because all our guests are friends, so you're stuck with me for life now.
Oh, nice. Well, thanks very much for having me. And if you're ever in Canada or I'm in Scotland, I'll let you know. We'll go get some seafood.
No, I won't. We could try seafood. I wouldn't say no to it.
Maybe we'll get poutine instead.
Yes, because there's a lovely Canadian themed restaurant in Edinburgh, and they serve poutine. So perfect. Yes, we can go for poutine and get cider and get drinks because you need to have a drink.
Yeah, when with friends, right?
Exactly, and that ticks off. You get time.
Yeah. Well, we're just checking all the boxes.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what you want. But yeah, I cannot thank you enough for coming on, and congratulations on being our first ever Canadian guest.
Thanks very much. I'm happy to have that honor, and I'll probably get a plaque or something, frame it on the wall.
I'll try and send you a plaque.
Perfect.
We'll try and sort something out. But this has been the final whistle with Sophie De Goede. See you next time.